So my name is Jonathan. I'm the Google Developer Expert. I recently joined Google Developer Expert. You can write me in the Twitter message whenever you want. I really like to help people, so really feel to do it. Actually, in my life, I'm doing two things. The first one, I'm part of the startup called Get. And you know, who knows what is Uber? Uber? No, like, not everyone knows what is Uber? No, really, guys. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. So, Uber is like us, okay? So, we was about doing ordering a taxi by clicking only one button. We possibly touch every possible technology that exists today, operating 52 cities over the world, London, New York, Moscow, Israel, with more than 20 million users. Really like amazing startup, amazing thing what we are doing every day. And also today I will share some story about our startup, actually, the architecture things that we discovered and find. And the second part of my life, actually the biggest part of my life, I'm running Android Academy. It's a non-profit organization that helps developers from Israel to become Android professional developers. We do it completely for free. We're fully supported by Google, and I think it's really pretty awesome. One of the largest community. That the whole thing is like to open the doors to the people that not allow to pay university or courses and to be the developers. So if you came to Israel, feel free to ping me. Come to our meetup. We're really up to meet the new people, and if you want to talk at our community, feel free. So what's going to do today? First of all, I hope we're going to have fun. So if it's not fun, feel free to wake up and go outside. Really, I will not take it seriously. And then I will share with you some Get story. And we talk about the V8 engine. It's actually, it's not car engine, but it's other type of engine. And we will talk about what is actually dynamic UI concept, how you can build your UI dynamically and without being tight coupled to business logic that you have. And to make it even more engaging, so it looks like everyone is tired and like every end of the second day, I prepared some quiz. So for one that count how many word Get appears in presentation, starting from this slide, we'll get this amazing t-shirt. It's a brand new t-shirt, Star Wars and Android together, my two passions. Okay, so it's waiting you. Yeah. So it's here. At the end of the presentation, you have a chance to count. Be aware. No, this is not counting. Okay, so starting from this slide, like next one, and after that. Yeah, the present. So let's begin the fun. Okay, who's ready for the fun? Oh, come on, guys. It's not working like woo. Who ready for the fun? Yeah, cool. So actually this story, the Get story, starts a long time ago in the galaxy, not far away. It starts in Israel, 2010. The startup we called Get Taxi. It was about the taxi, ordering the taxi by clicking one button. Okay, you click the button, taxi arrive, it take you to some destination, you pay the money by cash, by credit card. We expand really fast to the UK, entire UK, Russia, entire Russia, and we're operating almost in every city in Russia, almost in every city in UK. We expanded to the US, and we're operating today in New York. We're fighting New York. We're about 10% of all operation that Uber, and we only launched it last year in New York. And all was defined, really, really great. We expanded about 400% in a year. Till the moment, 1 year before, our founder and board of directors decide, look, the taxi is fine, but hey, we can do more. And we change our name from Get Taxi to Get. And it actually stands Get everything, okay? Whatever you want, whatever you imagine, you just can think anything that you want to get, like, for example, beer, okay? So you can get beer, you click the button, and you get the beer, okay? Can you open it? Yeah, thank you. So we get the beer, and we start with different services. We start with the champagne. What I'm showing is the real thing, that real working. You can order the things by clicking buttons in different countries. So we start with the champagne, and then we move to the get clean. Like you can order the lady that comes to your house and will clean it. Get sushi, or get pizza in Italia. Chocolate, wine, and even on the day when the new iPhone was released, we make that one class, one day, get iPhone. Like, really amazing. We was like sold out the things that working amazing with iPhone, guys, is actually for half hour we sold out, completed all iPhones. Why it's not happened with Nexus? But back then, with all these new classes, get anything, we had very, very hard thousand lines of code that were supporting all this stuff, like endless business logic, developed it like couple years, and it was like calculating what's the waiting time, what's the driving time, what's the extras, and all this stuff that's related to the taxi, and then you need to merge it to the other classes, and then it becomes really, really complicated. And if you have another platforms like iPhone or web app or server, so you need to implement this logic again and again, like the same bugs, a lot of issues, supporting, and really become hard. But in normal world, how it works, you have a server, customer, open the app, receive all available classes, he choose what's the pickup address, okay, choose the class he want to order, it's going back to the server, and then server sends the new order to the closest supplier. So the supplier, it could be taxi, it could be delivery guy, it could be the clean lady, or any other supply provider that right now on the street. And all is fine, but actually in our reality, we are living in an offline mode. What does it mean offline mode? Like we're operating, for example, in Russia, in Moscow, where there's still a lot of areas that have only 2G limited connection area. Okay, or for example, like here, right now we're in the auditorium, right, that half of you don't have coverage at all. Okay, so if you're a supplier, the driver that need to do some stuff like to calculate the price of this order, you can't really rely on the server, right? Because you don't have a server right now. You don't have internet at all. So actually in our world, we have a lot of situations where we don't have connection, and we need to deal with that. And another thing that we supporting actually cache. What does it mean? It means that customer that's sitting right now in the taxi and don't have 2G connection need to have the ability to pay for his ride, right? So we need to calculate the price of the ride, to pay it and get off the taxi immediately without waiting. Wait, I need the internet. Somehow I need to calculate the price. So we need to have the ability to calculate it immediately, within a couple of seconds at maximum, the price of this ride, to show the price, collect the money, and release the passenger or any customer back to their normal life. Okay, so this was like challenge, like how are we doing with all this complex logic calculating the price for each type of the class? So the first naive approach was, hey, let's take the pricing calculator, the whole logic of how you calculate the price, and implement it again for each class, for each separate class, implement in our app. Yeah, and then actually it becomes very sophisticated when you need to implement it at least 4 times, right? One time in the server, one time in the Android, one time in the web app, and in the small OS that nobody knows in iPhone also. And it produces a lot of bugs in production. It requires you a lot of work, a lot of developers, a lot of hours of pain, and like also we have a conversation with our product guy that came to us and said, look, we need to have an ability to develop, actually to release to the production every single moment new class. Like if I wake up this morning and I want to create new, let's say, get pizza, okay? And I want to do that, I need to have this ability. And you need to provide me the capability to do that. And we were like, wait, but we have so many versions outside. And when we look on in our console and check what's the version adoptions right now. So we released the latest version two weeks ago, and we discovered that actually only 50% of all our users upgrade the app. So I need to support dozens, actually not doses, but couple of versions backward, the whole difference in pricing calculation. So what I'm doing when I have the supplier with one version of app and the customer with another one, and they like not synchronize one with each other. Well, am I forcing each one to update the app? Like, there's a lot of dilemmas that come to us. So, and like, we already have the logic implemented 4 times. So how we can do? And then we decide, like, okay, we're not going to fall in this speed again. And I really like the old Italian proverb. By the way, I just recently discovered that this is Italian, that fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. But doesn't mean like we're not going to fall in the same pit second time and like to develop in each platform a new class. We're going to try the different approach. And the different approach was, okay, let's try to think out of the box. Let's try to think not to deploying the code each time within each version. And actually, the first approach was, in a session, say, okay, so we have dozens of class all over the world. Really, each country has separated parameters, separate classes, separate attributes, configured differently. So let's create the engine that will create the code that later will be used to calculate the price. So I will make it a little bit simple. So the server checks which classes are available right now. Okay, it's the code in server written in Ruby. Okay, and what it's doing, he's just checking the whole classes, and then actually he's generating the JavaScript code. The JavaScript code, this is actually the calculator that later will be used by our suppliers to calculate the price of this current ride or of these particular servers. Okay? Questions till now? Am I talking too fast? No? Yes? You don't care? Cool. Yeah. I need a little bit, sorry. Yeah. So we have this JavaScript code generated every time we have a new class deployed to the server, so we're constantly updated, like immediately the whole code is pushed to the server, the new JavaScript, the new pricing calculator is generated. And then actually what happened next, the supplier app, okay, the same taxi driver or the same lady clean, when she opening the app, she downloading the new JavaScript engine, the new calculator inside the app, and it actually store it, and then we running JavaScript runtime, and we execute this code whenever we want to calculate the price of this current ride. Okay, the idea is clear. Any questions? Cool. And we still have the old API like to talk with the server. Why is that? Simple, because the context of execution on the app and on the server may different. Why? Because like on the server, I have the network connection, right, every time. So if I want to calculate if I have the tolls for this particular ride using Google Maps API, I can, because I have internet, have a power, I can do whatever I want. But if I'm using on my driver app, on my supplier app, I don't have such a connection right now, so maybe I need to calculate the price a little bit different and then suffer the changes. Okay? So this is the idea, to hold also the old server API and talk it with the server at the end of the ride. So I hope the architecture is clear. The beer is already throwing at me. So what's next? How we implement it? So the naive approach, the simplest one, we say, okay, let's do it with the web view. Okay, who knows what is a web view? Okay, so web view, everybody knows this is a small, tiny view that you can put on your screen in XML and just execute any web-related stuff like JavaScript or HTML page, show it to user, or do any calculation. Really pretty simple. So we try to test it, say, okay, before we're going to develop the whole thing. By the way, before we actually develop it, nobody from us believed that it's going to work. It was like literally, let's do something that we don't show is going to work, but let's try at least. So we wrote this simple function called Fibonacci. Okay, everyone knows what's Fibonacci? It's just Fibonacci sequence. Yeah? You already started studying the math here? Yeah, cool. By the way, I didn't. Yeah. So we calculate the Fibonacci, and we write this function. The first naive approach is like the recursive approach. It's the dumbest approach that you have for calculating the sequence. And we asking to calculate sequence of 28. Why is 28? Anybody guess? Anybody? Yes? No? It's just simple because 28, to calculate the Fibonacci of 28 is the same number of operations that less or more that will be for the pricing calculation. Okay, so if you want to approximate, measure the performance, this is the number that we need to calculate. And then actually you initiate the web view, you take the settings, you enable the JavaScript, you give him the whole string of that contains your function, the Fibonacci thing, and you execute it. Okay? Simple one. Questions about the code? Yes? No? Go. So I wrote this simple function that actually running and executing in 1,000 times. Okay? Yeah, you have a question. Good approach. Couple slides. It will come. So I wrote a simple application that measures things. So the first one does the Java thing, to write the same function in the Java. Okay, so it's in the average it was running about 20. It took about 20 milliseconds to execute it, and then actually I implemented with the web view. Okay, this is the second thing, and so it's about in average on the top devices like Nexus 6P, it was taking us about 42 million seconds to execute, like double time that it took for the native. Okay, and then when I tried to run it on the low-end devices like 1+1 or like old Samsung S3 and S4, it took me about 90 milliseconds to execute this simple code. It was like, what? How you can deal with it? And also came a lot of things like, what's about the security? What's about version of a system view that installed in current device? Like, we can't really control what exactly happened on this particular device that made in China by the guys. Really good guys, but that did a shitty work. Okay? And we decided that this is no-go. And we're guys that we love the native development. Okay? I hate things that related to the web view, to the web at all. I'm not a JavaScript guy. I like the Android. This is my professionality. So we try to do the native approach. Okay? And we discovered the V8. Who heard about V8 here? Oh, half auditoria. Cool. So actually, V8 is like Ferrari. Ferrari in the world of cars. Okay? It's the whole Chrome. I hope you're using Chrome and not something else. Otherwise, you're suffering. It's actually executing the whole JavaScript, the old JavaScript that you have in every website using V8. Node.js, very useful framework for the development, web development, is also executing the whole JavaScript thing using V8. It's actually very good performance. It's very easy to initiate. It's open source. So you can really go to the GitHub, download the whole code, look at the site to dig it if you want. And you want to use it, you need to build it for each architecture, like CPU architecture, right? RAM, 86. And it's very easy to implement it. And it's in order to work with it, you need to. It's written in the C++. Okay, you need to wrap it with the J9 functions. Okay, who knows what is J9? Okay, so for the whom that don't know, J9 or NDK, Native Development Kit. Actually, the whole Android is built. So we have the application layer, the top one. So the all other application written in Java living. And then actually they're using the framework stuff. Okay, they also written in the Java like location services, a notification manager, etc., etc. And them are using the native libraries written in the C. So our V8 engine will be executed in this green level, in this library level. So it will be closest to the hardware as much as possible without paying any overhead of using it via Java. Okay, so this is the J9 thing. Okay, we have the ability to execute this code very close to our framework. So in order to use it, it's very easy. You write a couple thousand of codes in the C++ stuff. Very clear, very easy, right? Who like the C++, except of me? Yeah. So actually, I really hate it. I suffer every moment, so I decided not to go there. And we discovered the library. Actually, this library was written by the guys from the Eclipse. I think for those that still using the Eclipse today, can feel much proud about that. And they write really simple wrapper for this JNI library for the V8. It's called J2V8. And to use it, it's really about 2 lines of code. Okay, so first one, you just bring it in the Gradle. Okay, compile, com eclipse J2V8, you specify the version AR file, and then you have it. Okay, that's it. You don't need to build, you don't need to specify which CPU to run the endless scripts. And then you just call V8 create V runtime, and that's over. You have the whole V8 running and ready for you to do whatever you want. Literally, 1 line of code. And the second line is just you load your JavaScript code that wants to be executed. You call the function like execute. In my case, it's I need the int as an answer, so I call the execute int script. And then the whole JavaScript, the whole Fibonacci is going to be calculated. Questions? Yes, no, clear, not clear? Cool. And then actually, of course, we need to measure it. So the last one is the V8 here. I measured the stuff, and I saw that actually the average, even on the bad devices, doesn't matter which devices I'm running it, by the way, it was talking about 20 milliseconds. 90 milliseconds? 20 milliseconds. I think it was like, really was amazed. We say, okay, we can do great stuff here. And also I decided to put it on the graph to see what's the difference. Really, what's the difference? You see that the blue line, this is the native approach. The green line, this is the V8. And the red one, this is the web view. So you see the difference, pretty clear. Well, sure, okay, seems like we're on the right track. We still have the performance. Let's go through it. So back to our get story. So the whole solution was, no, it's where. The whole solution is the user opened the app, and on the login, he downloaded the price calculator. Okay, we download it, and we store it on the file for future use. So it's in the code, it's looking like very complex code. We're using retrofit2, we call for our API method, downloaded the file as a string, store it in the file, and that's it. We have pricing calculator in our app. That's it, like simple as that. And then actually we need to warm our engines, right? So we need to prepare it. So we initiate the J2V8 environment, and then wrap it around some JavaScript component, JavaScript engine. We loaded our file, we load our JavaScript component, JavaScript code in our J2V8, and we're ready to go. And actually, to load it, for us, it just took 1 line of code, initiate the variables, and then just call load JavaScript, and we have JavaScript ready for it to be executed. The whole, it's about 89,000 of codes, lines of codes, loaded less than in 30 milliseconds. Okay, this is the metrics. So once we execute, we open the file, we loaded the whole string inside our JavaScript engine, and we're ready to go. So the next step is when I need to calculate the ride. Okay, so the driver came to the point, to the destination of the passenger. He's offline. He needs to pay with the cash, and he wants to calculate the ride. So clicked on the button. We specify the function that we want to execute on our J2V8 environment. We call it calculate and adapt. Why adapt? I will talk later, but calculate the price. We pass the right data, like what's the time of the pickup, what's the if it was the waiting time, if it was additional extras like a child seat, for example, in the taxi, or maybe additional room for the lady cleaner. We specify this data, we pass it to our function in the JavaScript, and then as an output, we get the whole result, how I should calculate the price, like what's the price, what's the extras, what's to show to the user, and how much to charge. That's it. So in the code, it's looking like I go to the execute method on object, and object is actually the JavaScript that loaded inside. And I call the function, calculate and adapt, and then I pass the right data inside. And the output, you see the calculation JSON, and then I need to turn it back to my object that can work in Java. So I'm using JSON. I'm the lazy one. I don't want to parse it. So using JSON, I parse it back to the calculation result, and then we have the screen. Okay, so actually, this is the screen that our supplier see. Okay, so on the left side is you start with the taxi, so you see this is the waiting time, you're right, this is the fare, and this is the amount that he or she, doesn't matter, she need to take from the passenger, and then he click on the button of the charge, and that's it. Okay, so the amount calculated less in a couple of seconds. Okay, same for the cleaner, for example. The cleaner, it was like different. We don't care about how much it took time to drive there, because we actually care how much time, like how many rooms she cleaned, right? Rooms, balcons, or many other stuff. And for the iMaster, it's like another class that guys that fixing your iPhone. Really, you can order one that come to your home and will fix it. You just care about which type of phone he is fixing. Okay, so like fixed price. Completely different logic, right? Completely different screen. But actually, where's the magic? And the magic coming in the result, in the calculation result. The calculation result is actually key value thing. It's just the list of the breakdown object, okay? I will repeat it again. The calculation result, okay, of my function, of our JavaScript function, is just the list of the breakdown things. Okay, and the breakdown is just the key value thing. So if I will look inside in our breakdown, it just label and value. It doesn't contain the waiting time. It doesn't contain field says how much room was cleaned and how was I need to display in the UI. I really don't care. Okay, my dynamic UI is going to be built just by key value. Okay, just the list of the breakdown. So just show user I flatted it. Okay, just go over the whole lists. I flat it and put in my list, just one by one. Take the description, take the label. If it's monetary, put the dollar sign or ruble sign or any other sign, and just show to the user. Show to our supplier app how much you need to calculate, how we calculate it, what's the price, and that's it. You have one button, click on charge, take the money, and take the next ride. Okay? Questions? Anyone? Yes. Right.
If you have a root device, you can go to this storage and try to compile the file or whatever, and change your function, and then you will see another result, right?
So the question was like, if it's I will use the root device, I downloaded JavaScript, I can change my app, I can change where is exactly it stored to look inside. I can modify what's actually stored in my persistent storage, what's the JavaScript, how it's executed, and say, without all this logic, let's return $1 million. Why not? We can, right? This is the question. So you're right, this is the pain. So we try to prevent it. What we don't have is the whole encryption process of the file. Okay, so the file passed the SSH 256 encryption, the hash function, and then we actually to decrypt it back. We try to fight it, but on Android, there's no such a thing like unbreakable thing. Okay, everything you can break, and this is what we are dealing every day. Not only us, most of the service providers. By the way, can you guess which country we have fraud every day on thousands and thousands of dollars? Yeah, you're right, in your country. Not like near. So yes, this is the pain. We try to solve it as much as possible. This is the reason why we have at the end, we actually communicate back to the server what was the price and how it was calculated in order to ensure it. So if someone is hacked us with our JavaScript engine, we actually try to figure it out. We have different mechanisms like calculate it again and then compare how much it was charged, and then we try to prevent it. Okay, if it's credit card, it's very easy. We just block the transaction. We can return the money and etc. If it's cash, it's much harder, but we try to solve it as much as possible. Questions? Yeah, so you're here.
How about size? Is it
The size, it's about 5 megabytes with all the whole architectures. We hold it 4 times, like for the 86 ARM and both for the 64 bits. It's about adding 5 megabytes to your app, to your APK. Okay? Additional questions? Yes? No? Cool. So what we had at the end of the day, at the end of this whole development. So we implemented V8 engine, so it was sound for us, it's like really cool because nobody really used it except for us. And one of the big achievements was that we outsourced the whole logic of calculating the writes, the services, to the server. We don't need to deal with it. We're not responsible for that at all. Like, we don't care. Something is calculated. We show it to the user, and that's it. Okay? Our UI, because of using the key value thing, not really tight coupled to the business logic. Like, we're just getting some generic key value, displaying to the user. That's it. Like, no logic at all. And also, we wasn't compromising the performance. It was doing it's working like a magic, really. So I need to prove you that beside the cool things, it actually works. Okay, so you say, wow, it's a cool thing, but is it really work? So we launched it in July 2015 in Moscow. There's a joke how you measure the good code and the bad code. It's just the amount of what the fucks in the second, okay, per second. So this is what actually happened. Was sitting in the hotel and tried to debug was actually not working. And then what happened on the last day when we released it to the production, ProGuard cut the whole GNI library. And we discovered only it was in the production. So take care of your GNI libraries, okay? Even if it's V8. But at the end of the day, we have the code this running almost 1 year in the production. It has 0 performance issues, have 0 bugs, almost 0 bugs, because the things that since we outsource the whole logic to our server guys, okay, so we're not responsible how the write is calculated. For every single issue that comes from production about the price calculation, we actually can say it's not us, it's server guys. So that's it, I think, for today. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, you're right. For the driver apps, our app is not on the App Store. We're using the enterprise account, and we're just sending the link to our drivers or service executives, and because it's just about 100,000 drivers that we need just to send them APK and execute it, and that's it. Additional questions? Yeah. We're using eTag. You're definitely right. eTag, who knows what's the eTag? Okay, so for those that don't know, eTag is just the, like instead of downloading every time, by the way, I will repeat your question, sorry. So the question was, it looks like it's very wasteful to every time to download the whole JavaScript engine, right? The whole JavaScript pricing calculator. So what's you doing about that? And the solution pretty simple. It's actually, by the way, it's built in the whole modern HTTP clients like Retrofit or HTTP. Using eTag is actually the calculating the hash on the file itself that you want to pass. And if the hash wasn't changed, you just pass the OK. You get the same file using cache. OK, the file that was stored. OK, any additional questions? Why nobody asking me about the T-shirt? Ah, cool. So, who? The first one? Yeah. 18? Wrong. 19? Wrong. 21? Wrong. Yeah. Applause for the man with the T-shirt. By the way, I think it's your size. So I hope you enjoyed my talk. You're more than welcome to tweet about it, to tell your friends how awesome it is, that they will come to Droidcon Italy again. And thank you. Yeah.